The Siege of Bastogne was an engagement in December 1944 between American and German forces at the Belgian town of Bastogne. As part of the larger Battle of the Bulge, the goal of the German offensive was the harbour at Antwerp. In order to reach it before the Allies could regroup and bring their superior air power to bear, German mechanized forces had to seize the roadways through eastern Belgium. Because all 7 main roads in the densely wooded Ardennes highlands converged on the small Belgian town of Bastogne, only a few miles away from the border to neighbouring Luxembourg. Control of its crossroads was vital to the German attack. The siege lasted from December 20 to 27, after which the besieged American forces were relieved by elements of General George Patton's Third Army. Background: after the successful invasion of Normandy and the subsequent eastward push through France, the Allied front lines extended from Nijmegen in the north down to neutral Switzerland in the south. The valuable port city of Antwerp had been captured during the push, and by the time winter arrived, the Allies even had control of German territory near the city of Aachen. Adolf Hitler soon laid out a plan to attack the Allied lines in Belgium and Luxembourg. 25 divisions would launch a surprise attack through the Ardennes, with the aim of crossing the Meuse River and recapturing Antwerp. Despite major misgivings from his senior commanders, including Gerd von Rundstedt and Walther Model, the plan was not modified and the jump-off date was eventually set as the 16th of December 1944. Meanwhile, the Allied commanders considered the Ardennes area to be unsuitable for a large-scale German attack, mainly because of terrain issues. In addition, intelligence reports suggested that the only German divisions stationed in the area were weary, and in the weeks leading up to the assault, no Allied commander saw reason to believe that an attack was imminent. Bastogne, a hub city that commanded several important roads in the area, was defended mainly by the 28th Infantry Division, which had seen continuous fighting from 22 July 19 November, before being assigned to this relatively quiet area. The Allies believed only an infantry division was present opposite the 28th Infantry, and they believed any attack along this sector would be limited in scale. The 7 roads in and out of Bastogne were critical to the movement of German armor, making Allied retention of the roads imperative. Hasso von Manteuffel, commanding the 5th Panzer Army, gave Heinrich Freyer von Luttwitz's 47th Panzer Corps the responsibility of capturing Bastogne. Before crossing the Meuse near Namur, Luttwitz planned to attack a 7 miles front with 3 divisions. The 26th Volksgrenadier and the 2nd Panzer would lead the assault, with the Panzerlehr Division behind them. Opposing this significant force were 2 battalions of the 110th Infantry Regiment, responsible for a 9 miles front along the Aar River, which forms the border between Germany and neighbouring Luxembourg. The Allied forces were gathered into small groups at major Luxembourgish villages, with outposts along the river manned only during the daytime. The forces were too thin to maintain an even battle line. They focused their attention on the 4 roads that crossed the Aar. Due to heavy rain preceding the German attack, only one of the roads was in good enough condition to be used as a crossing point, the northernmost road, which crossed the Aar at Dasburg on its way to the Luxembourgish town of Clairvaux and Bastogne. The 2nd Panzer Division was assigned to cross the river along this road, while the 26th Volksgrenadier Division would construct a bridge near Gemund for its crossing. Luttwitz realized the importance of the road network of Bastogne. He knew that the town had to be captured before his corps could venture too far westward. Therefore, he ordered the Panzerlehr Division to push forward to Bastogne as soon as his other troops had crossed the Clerf River in northern Luxembourg. Prelude the attack. On the evening of the 15th of December, the 26th Volksgrenadier established an outpost line on the west bank of the Aar, something they did routinely during the nighttime. At 300, engineers began ferrying men and equipment over the river, where they began assembling at the departure point, quite close to the American garrisons. At 5:30, the German artillery began bombarding the American positions, knocking out telephone lines. As the infantry started to advance, the Germans attacked swiftly, their advances made possible by sheer weight of numbers. In the Luxembourgish village of Weiler, one American company, supported by some mortars and a platoon of anti-tank guns, lasted until nightfall against repeated attacks from multiple German battalions. German engineers completed bridges over the Aar before dark, and armor began moving to the front, adding to the Germans' vast numerical superiority. But in the end, the Germans were significantly delayed by the American defenders. Their plan to cross the Klurf River by nightfall on the first day was delayed by 2 days. On the 19th of December, the 28th Division command post transferred to Bastogne from Wiltz, a large Luxembourgish town to the southeast. At Wiltz, the division put up its last stand. 3rd Battalion of the 110th, supported by armor and artillery, arrived at the town around noon of that day. The 44th Engineer Battalion was set up north of the town, but they were soon overwhelmed and retreated into the town, blowing up a bridge behind them. This small force, numbering no more than 500 in total, held out until the evening, when the position became completely untenable, and they retreated to the west. With the 110th Infantry completely destroyed as an effective combat unit, it would be up to the rest of the Allied army to defend Bastogne. Commitment of reserves. Despite several notable signs in the weeks preceding the attack, the Ardennes offensive achieved virtually complete surprise. By the end of the second day of battle, it became apparent that the 28th Infantry was near collapse. Maj. Gen. Troy H. Middleton, commander of 8th Corps, was given Combat Command B of the 10th Armored Division to assist in the defense of Bastogne. CCB consisted of the 3rd Tank Battalion, 20th Armored Infantry Battalion, C Company 21st Tank Battalion, B Company 54th Armored Infantry Battalion, C Company, 609th Tank Destroyer Battalion, 420th Armored Field Artillery Battalion, and 3 companies of support troops. Gen. George Patton, commander of the 3rd Army, was not happy about giving up the unit right before he planned an offensive near Mainz, but Gen. Omar Bradley, commander of the 12th Army Group, ordered Gen. Patton to release the unit. Meanwhile, Gen. Dwight D. Eisenhower ordered forward the Schaeff Reserve, composed of the 82nd Airborne and the 101st Airborne at Reims. These were veteran troops that had served with distinction since the parachute drops in Normandy and were resting and re-equipping after 2 months of combat in the Netherlands. Both divisions were alerted on the evening of the 17th of December, and not having transport automatically assigned for their use, began arranging trucks for movement forward. The 82nd, longer in reserve and thus better re-equipped, moved out first. The 101st left Camp Mourmelon on the afternoon of the 18th of December, with the order of march. The division artillery, division trains, 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment, 506th PIR, 502nd PIR, and 327th Glider Infantry. Much of the convoy was conducted at night in drizzle and sleet, using headlights despite threat of air attack to speed the movement, and at one point the combined column stretched from Bouillon, Belgium, back to Reims. The 101st Airborne was originally supposed to go to Werbomont on the northern shoulder but was rerouted to Bastogne, located 107 miles away on a 1,463 feet high plateau, while the 82nd Airborne, because it was able to leave sooner, went to Werbomont to block the critical advance of the Kampfgruppe Piper. The 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion, in reserve 60 miles to the north, was ordered to Bastogne to provide anti-tank support to the armor-less 101st Airborne on the 18th and arrived late the next evening. The first elements of the 501st PIR entered the division assembly area 4 miles west of Bastogne shortly after midnight of the 19th of December, and by 900 the entire division had arrived. Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe sent the 501st PIR southeast through Bastogne at 600 to develop the situation. By 900, it had advanced and deployed on either side of the highway to Marguerite and Longvilly, where the Panzer Division was engaged in an all-day action to destroy the armor infantry combat teams assigned to slow the German advance. The 506th followed shortly thereafter. Its 1st Battalion was sent to Neuville to reinforce Marche Dessabrie's team from the 10th Armoured CCB, while the other 2 battalions were ordered to act as reserves north of Bastogne. The 502nd PIR marched north and northwest to establish a line from Champs east to Recogner, while the 327th GIR, newly arrived, protected the division's service area southwest of Bastogne until German intentions could be deciphered. Initial combat at Neuville on 19-20 December. The 1st Battalion of the 506th PIR was ordered to support Team Dessabrie, a battalion-sized tank infantry task force of the 10th Armoured Division assigned to defend Neuville, located north-northeast of both Foy and of Bastogne, just 4.36 miles away. With just 4 M18 tank destroyers of the 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion to assist, the paratroopers attacked units of the 2 Panzer Division, whose mission was to proceed by secondary roads via Monneville to seize a key highway and capture, among other objectives, fuel dumps, for the lack of which the overall German counter-offensive faltered and failed. Worried about the threat to its left flank in Bastogne, it organized a major combined arms attack to seize Neuville. Team Dessabrie's high-speed highway journey to reach the blocking position is one of the few documented cases in which the top speed of the M18 Hellcat was actually used to get ahead of an enemy force as envisioned by its specifications. The attack of 1st Battalion and the M18 Hellcat tank destroyers of the 705th TD Battalion together destroyed at least 30 German tanks and inflicted 500–1,000 casualties on the attacking forces in what amounted to a spoiling attack. The 3rd Battalion was ordered forward from a reserve position north of Bastogne to ease the pressure on 1st Battalion by occupying a supporting position in Foy to the south. The heavy losses inflicted by the tank destroyers deceived the German commander into believing the village was being held by a much stronger force, and he recoiled from further attacks on the village, committing a strategic error while seeking tactical advantage, significantly delaying the German advance and setting the stage for the Siege of Bastogne just to the south. This delay also gave the 101st Airborne Division enough time to organize defenses around Bastogne. After 2 days, the 2nd Panzer Division finally continued on its original mission to the Meuse River. As a consequence of its involvement at Bastogne, and its failure to dislodge the airborne forces, the column ultimately ran out of fuel at Celle, where it was destroyed by the U.S. 2nd Armoured Division and the British 29th Armoured Brigade. By the time the 1st Battalion pulled out of Neuville on the 20th, the village of Foy, halfway to Bastogne centre, had been captured from the 3rd Battalion by a separate attack, forcing the 1st Battalion to then fight its way through Foy. By the time 1st Battalion made it to the safety of American lines, it had lost 13 officers and 199 enlisted men, out of about 600 troops, and was assigned as the division reserve. Team Dessabrie lost a quarter of its troops and was reduced to just 4 medium tanks when it passed through the lines of 3rd Battalion.